In this video we're going to be discussing reading for our friends or reading for strangers. I'm Charlie Kelly and this is Masterclass. So many times I run circles, I run workshops, I run residentials, and I do this everywhere now. So I get to see different sides and different people, and I meet so many different personalities and so many different intents within their mediumship. But what I always come across is like a very distinct split between reading for friends and reading for strangers. And so I'm going to cover these in this one video. So, reading for friends. Now, what we tend to find is that we get a little bit comfortable. So this is usually going to be some sort of self-conscious issue. I don't like standing up in front of the group, or I don't like standing up at the front of class and demonstrating. I'd rather go and hide in the corner and sit with my friend and do reading after reading after reading, because this is what you do. It's a social time for you maybe, or it gets you out the house for a little while. It's your little moment, your couple of hours a week that you get to escape. But don't allow that to diminish the capability within your own mediumship. So you may sit with the same friend that's only got 1, 2 or 3 people in the spirit world, and this happens a lot where younger and younger people are walking into the classroom. So you may have a teenager that's only lost a nan or maybe a friend or something like that. And then after a number of weeks, and you've done this sitting time and time again, you don't know what to do as a medium. You don't know where to go. But there is light at the end of that tunnel. There is a nice mechanic or a simple piece of philosophy that you can share with that person and their reading. And the way that we do that is we see the person as a lifetime of experience. So let's take a teenager that's only lost a grandma in the spirit world, and that grandma made it to a nice ripe old age of 75. Let's take that as the example. Well, that means that I've got 75 years that I can work with in a sitting format. So there will be experiences that 18-year-old would have heard about. She would have asked her questions, or he would have asked his questions. And over a period of years, they would have built this picture or this understanding of their loved one. And in this example, we're using grandma. So they would have heard what she did when she left home, or when she got married, what she did for a living, where they lived, did they travel, didn't they travel. And all these experiences paint a picture and set a scene that we would understand as our loved one. And over time, you can start to bring this forward in a reading. So at first you may be doing 10-15 minute readings up to 30 minutes. And let's say you do that for 10 weeks on the bounce, and you're doing 10-30 minute readings. That's still only 300 minutes of a 75-year life. So there is plenty of opportunity and plenty more evidence that can go into a sitting or a reading, and you really don't need to panic. You really don't need to be worrying about, what am I going to say this time? How am I going to get this? I've already done this reading before, because there's still so much that you haven't spoke about. Now there are going to be a couple of problems that you will come up against, your own mind being the biggest one, that you'll go, oh no, I've already worked with this lady before, and oh no, I've already said what she did for a job, and oh no, I know how she passed, and I know the age, and I know where she lived. You would have already discussed this as evidence, but your mind will start looping it round and round and round, and it will be your every thought in that moment, and you'll just sit and you'll shrink into your chair because you won't know what to say. So what we do is we just express that. I have your nan here, and I know that I've already worked with your nan, and I know that I've already given you the passing condition, and I know I've already got the knowledge of where she lived and where she worked. By expressing it and getting the energy moving, we're clearing our mind, because we're just being honest. I already know this information, so I'm going to say it, and I'm going to move it out of my mind, allowing that subtlety of mediumship and the communication to take place in a very subtle way, and it's not being over diluted by information that we already have. So maybe give that a try in your circle, or give it an experiment if you are one of these people that like to hide away, or you haven't got the confidence to stand up just yet, then maybe try this technique and let me know how you get on in the comments below. And the next one's about reading for strangers. Now this for me is much easier because I'm a very analytical person. I analyse absolutely everything that comes into my head. And I was a nightmare going through my own development in the early stages, because I would overanalyse and I would over dilute, and I'd be thinking and thinking and thinking. When actually, when a stranger walks into the room, I can just let it all go. I can allow my spirit team to take over in that sense, for them to dictate where this reading is going. I am not analysing, I'm not trying to direct it, I'm not trying to do anything, because I have no idea of the person in front of me. So my own personal preference is I would much rather read for someone I don't know every single time, and that way I know that I can just remove my own mind and my own knowledge or understanding of the person in front of me, because I literally have none. So in that scenario you have to hand over in faith, in the relationship that you have developed with your spirit team, in the relationship that you've dealt with, that discipline of mind, and will you speak the visuals that you're experiencing? Will you speak the sounds that you're hearing, or the emotions that you're feeling? Will you express that? And if that is a stranger in front of you, you're kind of backed into a corner. You've got no choice but to speak that experience that you're going through in any given moment. And that way I found it much easier to do, because I couldn't be in conflict, or I couldn't analyse it, because as it happened I spoke it. And this grew, this made me more reliant on my spirit team. I realised that I don't have to do anything, I don't have to get it right, I don't have to argue here. I'm in the act of mediumship, and so anything that comes into my mind right now, I will speak. And very quickly you learn that for everything that you speak, it's a very high percentage of what you're getting correct, because you're not diluting, you're not manipulating the information, or you're distorting the information. You have no idea who the person is that's sitting in front of you. Therefore, you have to speak this experience, or what you're going through, because if not, it's going to be a very awkward silence, isn't it? So it's one of those scenarios that, for me, and the way that my mind is set up, and analysing and thinking and trying, it was just much easier for me to do in that way, to work with a complete stranger. So again, I invite your comments. What do you think about the techniques? What do you find through your own experiences? How did you find working for friends or working for strangers? Let me know in the comments box. Engage with the channel. But for now, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching. I'm Charlie Kelly, and this is Masterclass.